If you clicked on this video because you are planning to come to the UK as a visitor, then you are definitely at the right place. When I first came to the UK on a visit visa, I actually had my visa approved within 3 working days. In this video, I'm going to go through an exhaustive list of the full requirements of a visit visa, whether be that standard or the other types of visit visas which are longer. I know on the UK government website it says it takes at least 3 weeks. But for sure, mine took just 3 working days. That's why I want to share some of the things that I think I did right, so that if you are in the process of applying for your visit visa, you increase your chances of being approved. But also for something that is very close to me, some of my colleagues, as you guys know, I am an overseas trained dentist. So I have some of my colleagues who managed to book a place in the ORE exam. And to come and do this exam, as you guys know that this exam is done in London. And securing a seat alone on this exam is very, very tough. And that is an understatement. But the guys managed to secure a place. But then when they applied for a visit visa to come and do their exam, the visa was refused. And as always, when your visit visa is refused, Home Office will put a statement down there saying they are not convinced that you are a genuine visitor. So all visit visas, just like any other visa, start from a point of the Home Office thinking you are not a genuine applicant. So it is up to you to prove to Home Office that you are a genuine applicant for the visa type that you are applying for. The burden of proof is on you. And that's exactly why I'm making this video today, to enable you to dispense that evidence and convince Home Office that you are a genuine visitor. Of course, I'm assuming you are a genuine visitor. And if you are watching my video for the first time, my name is Emmanuel. So let's go. Welcome back, guys. So let's start with the basics. The standard visit visa, as we know it, is a visa that allows you to visit the UK for 6 months at a time. However, it can be issued for 6 months, for 1 year, for 2 years, for 5 years, or for 10 years. But all that time, you are only allowed to be in the UK for 6 months at a time. But there are categories where you can actually stay for 1 full year at a time. And we are going to get to that because those are not the majority and they have their own requirements. So first, we are going to start with what applies to the majority, right? So whether you are applying for 6 months or for 10 years, the requirements are usually similar. So what we want to do now is to look at the fees for each duration of the visit visa. According to gov.uk website, which is the official UK government website, the standard visit visa for 6 months currently, as of the time of recording this video, is £127. The standard visit visa for medical reasons for up to 11 months goes for £220. The standard visit visa for academics, which can last up to 12 months, also goes for £220. Then we have the 2-year multiple entry visa. This is actually the one that I recommend for people who are coming to do ORE exam. So for that 2-year multiple entry visa, you will have to pay £475. Then we have the 5-year multiple entry visa, which goes for £848. Then finally, we have the 10-year multiple entry visa, which goes for £1,059. So remember what I mentioned earlier, that you can actually stay in the UK for more than 6 months. Yes, now this applies to people, especially doctors and dentists, who are considered highly specialized by the UK, and most likely you have a PhD and you are practicing your field and you are coming to the UK either to teach, or you're coming on exchange program, or you're coming for research or something like that. You can come even with your family, as long as you meet certain requirements, and you can stay for up to 12 months. And that visa costs £220 for initial application. But if you come to the UK with the 6 months visitor visa, and then you decide to extend the visa while you are still in the UK without going back home, and you meet the eligibility criteria, then you'll be required to pay £1,100 for the next 6 months. So altogether, you'll be able to stay for 1 year, but you would have paid £1,320. So now that we have the fees sorted, let's go to the actual requirements. What do you need to submit to UKVI to prove to them that you are a genuine visitor? And by genuine visitor, they mean that you are intending to go back to your home country after the duration of your visit. How do you prove this? Let's look at that next. But before we look at that, if you find any value at all in this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And in this channel, we share mostly about opportunities in the UK, whether be that for study or work. So if that's something that is of interest to you, please consider hitting subscribe and join this family. You can even do that right now. Thank you for doing that. So let's continue. So of course, we are assuming you have a valid passport, and this passport is not going to expire in the next 6 months. Plus, it must have at least one blank page where they are going to stick that visa vignette that you'll use for entry into the UK. And then comes the most important aspect. You must prove to the UKVI that you will return to your home country after the period of your visit. So how do you do this? Usually, UKVI looks for what they call strong ties to your home country. So what do they consider strong ties to your home country? Before, people used to submit their land titles, their car log books, they used to submit all sorts of stuff showing they have assets in their home country. However, UKVI these days explicitly says they do not need you to submit such kinds of documents. So you need to submit something else that shows that you are intending to return to your home country after your visit. So some of the things that you can present that are actually a strong attachment include a letter from your employer. When I first came to the UK as a visitor, I actually attached my appointment letter. Plus, I got a letter from my employer explaining that I have been allowed to come to the UK for purpose ABC, and they expect me to be back at work after period XYZ. And that letter was accepted by UKVI as one of the evidence indicating I still have strong ties to my home country. Something else that you can present if you have a family or if you're married, you could prove to UKVI that you have ties back home because of your family. So what you need to present is your marriage certificate. You can present the birth certificates of your kids and things like that. Because surely if you have a family at home, you cannot just abandon them and then you come to the UK on a visit visa and you decide to remain here. I'm not saying it cannot happen, but that is very unlikely. Even according to UKVI, it is unlikely. So if you use that and you can prove that it is true, then it is one of those documents that will be accepted. By the way, better make sure that the documents that you are presenting to UKVI are genuine, because I can guarantee you that UKVI actually checks out these documents. They can contact your employer to ask them whether or not these documents are genuine. They have the means to do that. And please don't be tempted to forge a document for UKVI. Once it is discovered, you could be banned for a minimum of 10 years. UKVI takes forged documents very, very seriously. So make sure that your documents are genuine. Something else that you can use to prove to UKVI that you are a genuine visitor is to show if you do have a business that you have a business. And if you can indicate your position in the business and how vital your role is to the running of the business, if it is your own business or you're a partner in a business or something like that, and you have a document to that effect, don't hesitate to submit a document like that. It will tell UKVI that you have intentions to go back to home country and run your business. The next important thing that you must prove to UKVI is that you are not going to become a burden once you come to the UK. What do I mean by that? You must prove to UKVI that you are able to financially support yourself while you are in the UK. That you are able to finance your trip, you are able to finance your stay, you are able to finance your trip back home. And if you have financial responsibilities back home, that you are able to stay in the UK for the time of your duration and still support those who need you back home. So therefore, you must submit your financial statements. And as a side tip, and very important side tip at that, UKVI needs to know that that money has been in your account for 28 days minimum. If not, it will not be accepted. The only circumstances where UKVI can accept your financial documents that have less money than you are estimated to spend in the UK is when you can prove to them that you have already made arrangements for your stay, like you have a hotel booking and all other things that you are going to spend on, you have already paid some of that money. And then they can be able to waive that amount of the required amount. And you must prove that actually the money is available to you at any time you need it while you're in the UK. And that means if it is a joint account, the other co-account holder must also give you a letter that indicates that the amount will be available. And if you are being sponsored, your sponsor must provide you a letter of sponsorship indicating that they are going to avail you the funds, or the funds are already available. And if you have a sponsor who is from the UK, and by sponsor from the UK means that if you are a friend or a relative of mine, I can write a letter and you attach to your application which says that I, Emmanuel, am inviting you, Mr. So and so, to come to the UK to stay at my residence to do ABC that you are coming to do. And during your time of stay, I will take care of you. And I must submit my financial statements to show that I actually have funds to cater for myself and cater for you as well. And then finally, you must prove to the UK that you will leave at the end of your visit. Now, this is the tricky one, because to prove that you will leave at the end of your visit means that you should have a history of successful travel. That means you should have traveled outside your country. That requires you to pay for a visa, and then you went back. If you have that travel history, then that is also a plus. It shows that you are less likely to violate immigration rules of the UK. But in my case, I did not have any travel history, but still I got my application approved within 3 working days. But I indeed had an invitation letter from the institution that was inviting me to do something specific, and I had attached it together with my other documents. So, how long does it take to actually process this visit visa? Well, as I have mentioned earlier, the UK government website says at least 3 weeks. In fact, they say 3 to 6 weeks. But I had mine approved within 3 working days, and I didn't pay any fees. This does not happen to everyone. Probably I could have been lucky. However, if you want your application to be decided on as fast as possible, you have the option of paying for priority. Priority means that your application can be decided on within 5 working days. But you'll have to pay an extra £500 in addition to the normal application fees. And if you want your visa application to be decided on within 24 hours, then you would have to apply for super priority. and that means you will have to pay an extra £1,000 in addition to the fees you have already paid for the visa application. Then you'll be able to receive a decision within that time. But please don't submit forged documents, and please be as honest as possible in your submissions. Otherwise, UKVI is able to tell that you are not being honest in your application and it will be refused. Next time, we are going to look at the requirements for a partner visa. And we know that it is different from a spouse visa, which we are also going to look at later. And eventually, we are going to look at the dependent visa. But for the visit visa, let's end this video here. If you have got any value at all, please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, because that helps YouTube to show this video to other people looking for this same information. Otherwise, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.